Hey y'all.
It's been a minute. Welcome to another episode of
Love Seat Dialogue.
Hope y'all doing great out there. We doing alright. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
Yeah.
Good.
What about you?
I'm alright. I'm a little tired, man.
Why you tired?
Been doing some yard work, y'all. We've been working on our outside, getting our landscaping on for like the last couple of weeks. But today, my grass didn't really need cutting, but I decided to cut it anyway because it's the holiday weekend and I wanted it to look fresh, right? So, I got a new love. You know about my new love? Can I tell them about my new love?
I'm a little jealous.
You're a little jealous.
I'm just joking.
So, I got two favorite adult stores that I like. And I'm going to talk about one today.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to talk about one today. Because I found myself in the store at least once a week lately. Sometimes 2 times a week. And I don't even want to tell y'all because it might sound boring, but I'm so excited and happy when I go in this store. It's menards, man. It's menards. For all the homeowners out there or people who do a little handiwork, whether you own your home or not. Menards just one of them stores. Stores like Menards and Lowe's and Ace and whatever, Home Depot out there. But Menards is kind of one of my favorites.
Well, I like menards too, and it's not just for homeowners because they have the section, right?
Right.
They got all the good stuff in it. You might find a different kind of charger. You might find back scratcher. I found some good back scratchers in there.
A back scratcher.
Seriously. I found some good snacks, little stocking fillers for Christmas. So, yeah, Menards is the bomb.
You definitely can get some stocking stuffers for Christmas.
It's not all about...
No, right. It's not all about homeowners. That's why I said whatever you do, whatever you're into, if you into fixing up. But she did bring up a good point. You can get little stuff in there, little stocking stuffers and Christmas gifts and stuff like that. Because if you've never been in there for a Black Friday sale,
ooh, yeah,
you might need to check that out. I can't say it's slept on because every time we went, it's super crowded.
No, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can't really say it's slept on. A lot of people know about
they
Black Friday sales. But I found myself in and out of there maybe at least once a week now for any and everything dealing with the home. So I was in there today. I also went to the store called Ollie's. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that type of store, but it's like a bargain store.
Mm-hmm.
What would you compare Ollie's to? Like
it's a consignment store, so anything like
it's kind of similar to Big Lots, right?
It's similar to Big Lots, but Big Lots is not a consignment store. They're worldwide. Ollie's is probably just like splattered here and there.
That's why I was wondering.
If you're from Gary, like us, you remember U.S. Factory Outlet that was in the village. Short-lived business, but it was consignment.
Right.
So it's a little bit of everything in there from everywhere. You can find some name brand stuff splattered in there. It'll never come back again, but it was stuff that stores didn't want, so they donated, and then the stores had it. So yeah, it reminds you of that, but it's some good stuff in there.
I found some great books in Ollie's. They got a nice book section. They got a lot of stuff for homes as well. They got little food and snacks. They got games. They got toys for kids. Like she said, it's a little bit of everything in there.
I found some really nice shower curtains in there. Better Homes and Garden, beautiful shower curtains for $5.99. And I like to double my shower curtains, so that was a steal.
We spent a lot of money in these stores today too. Let me tell you about these stores and how they get you. Menards got this song, y'all.
Let's go.
Save big money at Menards. I don't know if you guys ever heard that when you shopping. And you see a lot of stuff, and you see a lot of stuff with good prices. And then you're hearing this song in the background, right? It's all programming. If you know about music, if you know about jingles, It's all programming, right? He gas you up. Because you in there with the shopping cart and you hearing this song going. And it's just almost like Walmart. You know how you go in Walmart for one thing, but you end up picking 2, 3, 4, 5 things? That's how Menards is sometimes. And then we went from Menards to Ollie's.
Yeah, we
Now
did.
they got another jingle in Ollie's. What is it? Ollie's. Good stuff cheap. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is,
Yeah.
right? Good stuff cheap. So you hearing save big money at Menards. Ollie's good stuff cheap. And they got it on a loop, man. It seems like it
Yeah.
comes on every 5 minutes or
Yeah.
so. And you just walking around this store, you're getting what you came to get. Then you're seeing all these deals that's too hard to pass up. So you spending way more money than what you intended to spend. But
That's true, because I don't even think I didn't mean to get anything out of Menards today. That was your trip.
it was my trip. But I only want to tell the people how much money you spent. Right? Right? But I will say this, though. Some stores or some places you spend your money at, you feel cheated.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I never feel cheated when I come out of Menards or Ollie's. Why you laughing at me?
Because you know what? It sounds like we're trying to get some sponsorship or something.
Right. And we're not.
We're not.
We're not. This is just a part of our day. You know? A part of our day, just doing some home improvement. Like I said, some landscaping. I cut the grass today.
It looks good, y'all. You did a good job.
I'm going to tell y'all a secret, man. I don't think I ever shared with you guys. I used to hate doing yard work when I was a kid. Hated it. Hated it. And I think it's because I thought it was boring then, and I guess it is boring when you're a kid comparing it to other stuff that you can be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like out playing with the fellas or riding your bike or, like I said, playing basketball, doing whatever. Anything better than cutting the grass or raking the leaves or doing anything out there in that hot sun. But now that I'm older, I find so much peace out there, man. It's like, it's therapeutic for me. It's like I can hear the Lord speaking. It's like I can really, if I got headphones on, I can really tune in and enjoy a good podcast or some music or whatever. I can be in the zone. So it's kind of freeing and therapeutic when I'm out there now. I be out there sometimes and, man, 2, 3, 4 hours pass by. But I do enjoy the end result of when I look at all the work I've done, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care if I'm cutting the grass. I don't care if I'm edging the yard. I don't care if I'm pulling weeds up, spraying weed killer, whatever, all of that. I really like how it looks at the end, and I'm happy that we stay in a community that everybody seems to want to take care of their yard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that feels good as well. So that's my day. That's me lately. That's us lately. We doing some things outside, trying to change the cosmetic look and improve it. So. You out there pulling up the weeds.
Pulling up weeds, and I'm allergic to everything, y'all. So I got on.
She got a mask on. She got gloves on. Go ahead, do your thing.
I was gonna tell on myself. I got my mask on. I got gloves on. I got my shades on. I got my scarf on. I'm out there covered from head to toe.
Can't even recognize her. You can't even recognize her out there.
But I do that because I had a really bad episode. It was the year before last.
Yeah.
I came in the house. I had on t-shirt, no mask, no gloves, out there pulling weeds, and I came in and was whipped up everywhere. So I don't know if it was a weed that I pulled, but I'm not doing that again because it was on me for a while.
Yeah. So it's a lot going on in the world, y'all. Since the last time we talked, we had Mother's Day since then. There's been a grocery store shooting in Buffalo, New York, where they killed like 10 of our elders. There's been more recently, a school shooting, right? Elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. I never heard of this location until this happened, but an elementary school. So, so we got elders that passed in New York, Buffalo, New York. We got school kids, elementary school kids. I want to keep stressing elementary school kids, just so you can imagine and know how young they were that was killed, with a couple of teachers as well. Security guard, mass shootings, right? All of these things are happening in the world right now. When you heard about any of these incidents, what did you think and how did you feel? Was you numb, like another one?
I wasn't numb. It's always sad. It's always scary, you know, because I have nieces and nephews, still school age kids, young kids, same age as those kids. So it's always, initially when I heard Texas, I have nieces and nephews in Texas, so I'm like, Texas where? You know, so
right.
I'm immediately frantic trying to pull it up on my phone and see. But I'll never be numb to it. It's just so heartbreaking. It's like, man, again, are you serious? And I don't understand how this keeps happening. I know the devil is busy.
Right.
I know that.
Right.
But how are these things happening and nothing happens?
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. That's why it keeps happening.
Right.
But how does it keep happening?
And the reason why I use the word numb, I ask that question because I hear people say that they're becoming numb or they became numb. And I heard somebody do a podcast just today, just this morning, said that for their mental health, they just can't care about a lot of stuff. And I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about that, because I do understand you want to protect your mental and emotional health. But on the flip side of that, we can't get to the point to where we can't care. You know, because a lot of us got to speak out. Things have to change. So we have to care. I understand the trauma that a lot of people deal with and hang on to and been through. We're not immune to that. I know I've had some trauma in my life. She has some in her life, especially if you come from an urban area. But if you're a child of God, you gotta care. You gotta care. If you love your neighbor as you love yourself, if you're striving to be like Christ, then we have to care. We have to care for people's lives. We have to care for justice. We have to care for the less fortunate, the people who are neglected and overlooked, people who are shunned. We got to care. So things have to change.
I think, I don't even know what person you're talking about that said that, but I kind of could understand. They gave a disclaimer, as you said, before they said they have to not care.
Yeah.
That it's for their mental health. Because for me, I can't take in a lot of negativity. I can't do it. So I care less to hear a lot of things. So I'm basically saying the same thing that person said, is that I stopped watching the news right when COVID happened. Shortly after that, I was like, I'm not watching no more news. I don't want to hear about it. Not that I was oblivious to what was happening, but I just didn't want to keep absorbing all of that every day. So in that person's defense, I can understand. I don't think they really, it sound heartless the way it was said, but yeah. I totally, I get that.
And then if you watch the news, you know by now, if you watch the news enough, you know that they keep the same stories on a loop. So it's like the same thing. So once you hear about it once or twice, I get it too. You don't want to keep watching the same news channel or turning different news channels and everybody's talking about the same thing, repeating the same stuff. And all of this stuff is seeping down in your spirit, seeping down in your heart. We do have to protect our spirits and we do have to protect our hearts. So Yeah, I get that part of it too. Uh, but yeah, it's a lot going on in this world, man, that we have to really pay attention to. We have to really pray for people, and we have to be proactive on protecting our kids, our elders apparently now, because it seems like nowhere is safe. From Dylan Roof when he shot up the church to now it's a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, and now it's an elementary school. So the enemy is intentionally trying to tell us nowhere is safe, right? Nowhere is safe, and they want us to walk around in fear constantly. And a lot of stuff that's going on is scary. It can be scary, but we can't walk around in fear. You know, God did not give us a spirit of fear. You just mentioned the pandemic a minute ago. How did the pandemic change you, or what did you see differently? I know for me, I think I value my family and friends more during the pandemic. And then you recognize that life is precious during the pandemic. You knew those things before, that life was precious and life is short. But during that time and forced isolation and seeing people get sick and die and seeing people in fear and seeing people turn on their family and friends for various reasons. How did your view change during that time? Or did it change?
So, I could say a few things pertaining to the pandemic. I would never want to experience watching people in fear like that again. But I will say, for me, I didn't experience working full days at home, but it was like half days at home, and that was some of the most peaceful time for me because I'm always go, 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 go. And so it forced me to step back, relax, chill, and just let God be who He is. And what I mean by that is I couldn't do nothing anyway, so I might as well sit here and spend some quality time with God. Sit here and read a book. I did a lot of stuff like that. Was the most peaceful, I will say honestly, the best birthday I have had ever. And you know what I did? I got up and I created a spa day for myself.
Okay.
I did the foot soak, I did the massage chair, I did the facial, and you went to give me cake and dinner. And I did a toast with all of my family on Zoom. That was the best birthday ever.
And hey, real quick, don't lose that thought. But she said that was the best birthday ever, and she celebrates her birthday, y'all. I'm talking about in the past, we've been places for her birthday. We caught flights to Atlanta,
right,
Texas, but
I
why was
that
this more special?
Because I didn't have to plan anything. I didn't have to worry about, are they going to be here? I forgot. Dang, I didn't tell them, but it's last minute. They might get mad if I tell them now.
Yeah.
I don't want to put too much pressure on my husband this year. It was just like the best. I didn't have to hurry up and get to an airport. It was just peaceful.
Yeah.
It was peaceful. Peaceful. I also, during the pandemic, anything I wanted to do, I just recreated it at home. If I wanted to do a restaurant with friends, then
we did it at
I
the
just
house.
set up the dining room with tables and had my friends over, and that's what we did.
Menus.
Yeah. I made up menus. If I wanted to do a wine tasting, and I set up little bars at home, and we did wine tastings. I did everything. I recreated everything at home. So it was, I used what I had to make the best of a situation. And I refuse to be afraid. I figure, hey, God got this thing. If it's meant for me to leave out here right now, then that's what it is. If it's not, then okay, we all got testimony, right? We still here, so.
You said let God be. Is that the phrase you use?
Let God be who He is.
Yeah. That kind of remind me of the Bible verse where, because we already know that God got it all under control.
Yeah.
It's like, we know that, but when we in that fire, when we in the mix of everything that's going on, it's like we forget that, the average person. But it when you said that, it draws me to the Bible verse where it says, "Do not be anxious for nothing."
Oh, that's one of my favorite scriptures.
Do not be anxious for nothing.
Yeah.
And then it go on to say, can you add an hour? Something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing right now because it's in my memory and my heart. But like I think he said, can you add an hour to your day by worrying? No, you cannot. You know. And we already know that the scripture also said God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind.
Yeah.
A sound mind. A sound mind, which means that your mind should be so at rest and so at peace that you know He got it all under control. And your relationship should be so tight with Him. We should be striving for that. So tight with Him that whatever happens, you're going to be all right anyway. I didn't have any fear during that time neither. But it made me realize, to your point about just making the best out of what you have and enjoying the people around you. So the simplicity of life, right? Mm-hmm. The simplicity of life and just really enjoying family and friends. And that's really what we want to talk about this evening.
Yeah.
Right? We want to talk about family a little bit. My family isn't as close as they are today than when we was growing up. I come from a big family. I've come from a home where my grandmother had 10 kids, and we all stayed in the same house. I'm the second oldest of, I don't know how many grandchildren right now. But during that time when I was young, it was just me, my brother, and my cousin Shalonda. So it was 3 grandchildren and my uncles and aunts in our house, raised by my grandmother. And I'm talking about family was tight. Family was tight when I was young, when grandma was in the house. How about a little background from when you was growing up? Was it similar?
No, my mom was the only child. My dad had siblings, but we weren't really close, so I knew who my aunts and uncles were. Well, I had one aunt.
Yeah.
And 2 uncles. There was 4 of them. So I knew who they were, but I wasn't really close to them. I was closer to my aunt than anybody. But still not as close as I should have been. With no fault of mine. But no, my mom was the only child. All of my cousins on my mom's side of the family were like, I call them my aunts and uncles, because you know how we were back in the day. We called older aunts and uncles, older cousins, aunts and uncles. So I got a lot of those, but and back in the day they were really close. But I don't know what happened. It's like everybody fell off the earth and went their own direction. Everybody's strangers now, so it's a little odd, a little strange to experience that. It's sad, actually.
So you can attest that families were closer back then, for whatever reason. Like for us, I don't know, in my own life and then people around me, I've heard that, and I can witness this in my own life to say that it's true, but other people can testify that it seems like the families fall apart when grandma passed. It's like grandma is like the glue to the family. And when grandma passed, it's like people move, people fight, people disown one another. And when people move out of town, it's like you don't never hear from them again, or you don't hear from them for years on down the line. And it's like, what happened to family today, y'all? What happened to family, man? We got to get back to protecting our women, protecting our children, and just protecting, looking out for each other. Period. Even our men. Our men are out here, just dealing with a lot. Got all type of addictions.
That's true.
There's stuff going on, man. We need to check on our people. So, yeah, what happens, man? When grandma is like the glue. Our grandmother was the glue to our family on both sides. My mother's side and my father's side. Everybody coming town to see grandma. Everybody coming down to the house when grandma fixed a meal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, things are different all over the world. It's like the black community. I'm only speaking for what I see in our community. Other cultures, feel free to chime in, comment if you feel like, if it's the same, let us know. I don't know. But as far as all of my friends and my family, it's like we barely even see each other intentionally. You know, you hear from people when they need you or when they want you to do something. Mm-hmm. But just to pick up the phone and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. How you been? You been all right?
Yeah, so speaking of families, it seems like during the pandemic, husbands and wives were closer. They were spending more time with the kids, and it was just like more people happy.
Yeah.
You know, doing this thing together.
Yeah.
And now, lately, I don't know about you. Well, I do know, but it seems like we're hearing so many people. Marriages falling apart. People talking about divorce, and listen, I understand. People who are going through abuse, infidelity. Some of this stuff is just like, huh? Like, I'm just like, listen, and it's not the men. It's the women. It's the women, and I'm not one to be like, I'm a human being first, Then I'm a woman, so I understand the things that women go through. But I don't just take up for women just because we're women. I don't do that. So, like I said, some of it's like, girl, come on now. How long you been knowing this, and now you want to just pick out these little things? Or some of the situations is like, the woman been knowing this about this person from the beginning, so it's like, really? I don't know. But it's sad. It's really, really sad. And I just want to say, speaking of talking to your friends and family and mental health, we need to stop, coming to conclusions on our own accord and share with your friends and your family what's going on. Because sometimes, to me, they ain't thinking properly. I need my friends to tell me, girl, or my family to tell me. Now, I know some friends and family is messy. I get that. You might not want to tell them your business.
Right. But deep down in your heart, you should know who your true friends are, who your true family members are, people who is going to tell you what's good for you, people who is going to tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it, especially when you make a situation, a decision as serious as something like this, right? Because marriage, to be honest with you, is work. It's work. Mm-hmm. And we stand before God and say, for better or for worse. A lot of people sitting up there telling a flat out lie because they never make it to the worst part. Mm-hmm. As soon as they feel a little bit unhappy or it gets challenging, or maybe they're looking at some grass that may be greener on the other side, whatever it is. And I'm not always talking about another person. Maybe they're talking about another life for themselves.
Yeah.
I want to just focus on me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you said for better or for worse.
Yes.
So we got to think about these things when we stand before God and make these promises.
And stop looking at other people's windows, because you don't know what the Jones is going through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, stop looking in other people's windows like, oh, they doing this over there. they got this and they got that, and it's like you don't know what they're going through.
And they so in love and they so happy.
Yeah.
And I do love her.
Yeah.
She loved me. I believe that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, marriage is work.
Yes.
We have our challenges, don't we?
Yeah.
Go through things,
Yeah.
right? You just said something recently about date nights.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you say? You remember?
I do. I said, we were at an event, and I looked up at him and said, where are you taking me after this?
Yeah.
And he said, where I'm taking you? I said, yeah, you taking me to dinner? And he said, yeah, I could do that. And I was like, man, you slipping. You slipping on your date nights. We ain't been going on date nights lately.
Yeah, we started these date nights. And I encourage every couple to do this. Every marriage couple. You got to keep the spice in your relationship. You're supposed to take time and still date, just like you were doing before you got married. So we was consistently at a point going on date nights once a week. Was it once a week?
It was once a week. You would pick a place one week, your choice, and I didn't know where we were going. And then the next week would be my turn.
So what I tell you that day when you said we're gonna have to go out, I told you. I said you right. I said marriage is work, man. It's like it's seasonal. You know, you gotta sometimes you start off good and you fall off. But when you fall off, the key to a good marriage, a happy marriage, or a successful marriage, however you want to word it, the key is when you fall off, you get back up. You pick that thing back up and you keep it going. You fall off, but you get back up. It's sort of like working out. It's more serious than working out but I can have a good month or two going to the gym 2-3 times a week. And just all of a sudden life happens. Like I get real busy with work and I got stuff going on at home. I'm doing yard work. I got little projects to do around the house. And I don't make it to the gym for maybe a week or two. And the average person after so long, after a series of events like this, they just give up going to the gym altogether. Stop paying on their gym membership. But sort of like the same thing though. When you in a marriage, it's still work. But when you fall off, the key is to not stay down.
Yeah.
It's to get up.
But I do want to add this, and this is all real talk and complete seriousness. You have a partner. It takes two.
Yeah.
It takes two to make it work. You can't fall off and hit yourself in the head about doing it if the other person don't want to be picked back up. You gotta let that thing go. You gotta, it's constant work, it's constant prayer. At the same time, like I said, it takes two. So whereas he's at the gym by himself,
yeah,
he's not at home by himself.
Right.
So when I mentioned about
right.
not going on date nights anymore, it really wasn't just for him because I haven't been planning date nights either. So that's something that we need to do together to continue to make this marriage work. Because one can't do it by themselves. I don't believe in the 80-20 rule. It happens, but I don't believe that it's something that we should be like, oh, well, it's the 80-20 rule. I love him more than he loves me. No. That's not how that should go. Oh, well, he buy me more stuff than I buy him. No. Whatever the 80-20 rule is for you, I don't really believe in the 80-20 rule. God didn't design it that way, and I don't think that we should sit in it that way.
Right.
So.
Right. Marriage have cycles.
Yeah.
It have cycles. And God is doing a special thing in marriage because two flesh becomes one, right?
Yeah.
That's a process. That's a process. He's molding us. We were individuals before we got married. So this goes for marriages, period. He's molding you two individuals into one flesh. And that's going to take some work. Because you have some ways, she has some ways, and God is going to, the key is to keep God right here though, in the center. Keep both of our eyes on God. And he's going to mold us. But when we take our eyes off God and start looking at ourselves, or start looking at other people, it's just inevitable you're just going to fall off. But when you fall off and when you fight, do you fight for the marriage or do you fight against the marriage?
Yeah.
That's another key to a happy marriage. You got to remember that if you're going to fight, you're fighting for the marriage. And if you're fighting for the marriage, there's an art to fighting.
And you got to realize that as you go, you grow. So as you go through things, you're going to grow in your marriage. It just gets better with time. I think that's an old whisper song. I love that song.
If you allow the growth to happen.
If you allow it to happen. And it's funny because sometimes the one person that we love the most get on our nerves the most. You know, it can be the smallest little thing. You're like, why didn't I just fluff that pillow over there? Why are you laying on that pillow, man? How many times I gotta say something about the pillow?
Yeah.
But we can't. And it's not things as trivial as that I'm hearing. But it is some stuff that I'm just like, man, come on now, y'all.
Yeah,
because
y'all
I'm looking at this
out.
person, and I'm like, well, I knew that about them. Why you acting surprised? You know, it's like, well, I knew this. Why you mad? And I don't sleep with that person. So it's like, I don't know. I do believe there is an attack on marriages today.
It is.
I believe that because there is so much feminism going on, that women are being attacked and don't realize it because we want to be so empowered.
And brainwashed.
Yes. And not that I'm saying that, you know, men are doing something that will make us feel a way and vice versa. But at the same time, I feel that if you have ever loved someone, don't forget what made you love that person. Remember that part.
Yeah.
Remember the reason why you wanted to get married, the reason why you love that person with all your heart, the reason why you couldn't live without that person. That part.
Yeah.
Remember those things.
Divorce, that was a word that we don't bring into our marriage. Those words. And when I say there is an art to fighting, because every married couple is going to go through some things. But the thing is, when you grow through it, again, you got to fight for the marriage, not against the marriage. Mm-hmm. So when we argue, just say you're having an argument with your spouse. You still can't be so emotional that you're not thinking clear, so that you're going to say intentionally everything that you know is going to hurt this person, and you're trying to tear this person down. You got to remember that God is making you guys one. So if you tear that person down, you're tearing you down.
Yeah.
You're tearing your own household down if you got kids under that roof. So you have to remember that you're not going to say the most hurtful things and disrespectful things to your spouse, because that only comes back to haunt you and bite you, and it lends to destroying your marriage. We knew in the beginning that we're not going to call each other out our names, right? One thing. We knew in the beginning that we're going to keep our hands to ourselves. For one, I don't believe in putting my hands on a woman in that way. But we had those two things laid out from the jump. We're not going to use certain words, disrespect one another. We're not going to put hands on one another. We can work everything else out in between, especially if we trying to do this thing God's way. Now, a lot of times people get away from trying to do it God's way, and they have this selfish idea of love and how marriage should go. But a real marriage, a godly marriage, is selfless, which means that I'm not thinking about you making me happy and you doing this and what you're not doing. I'm trying to see how can I serve you. How can I serve you? People use this phrase, men say it all the time. I don't personally agree with it, but they say, happy wife, happy life. How do you feel about that?
Well, honestly, first of all, we can't make each other happy.
That's number one.
I can't make you happy.
Right.
And you can't make me happy. That's something that is found deep within. And I always say when you feel that void, like, oh, he's not making me happy, that's a hole inside that needs to be filled with the Word of God.
Yeah. Only God can feel
and
that
I'm
void.
only saying that because I've experienced it. Because I know some people are like, well, how does she know? What's she mean? Because I've experienced it. I've experienced a hole that was so deep in me thinking, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And God telling me, I love you.
Yeah. So
I love you.
You heard God tell you that, because people don't understand when people say that God told me, but you heard God tell you that, right?
I love you. And it was the most emotional thing I had ever had to deal with in my life, because I had to realize that to me, that meant it doesn't matter about the mother that I gave you, your earthly father, your siblings, your husband, your child that I loaned you. I love you. Nobody can love you the way that God loves you. He knew the number of hairs on your head before you were born. He knows your dirty secrets that you have not told anybody. Wouldn't dare tell anybody. He loves you. He knows the things that your partner cannot handle about you. And so just to hear him say, I love you, was just so emotional for me.
And only he can fill that void. Anything else is idol worship, and it's a setup to be let down. Because humans are flawed. We're going to disappoint one another. We're going to let each other down. So, you're right. I can't make you happy. You can't make me happy. I got to find that happiness and that joy in the Lord to fulfill that void. Now, the love that he gives me in return, I can share that with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can share that with you, and we can make, we can be fruitful in our spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the joy, peace, happiness, you know, the fruit of the spirit that we get from God, we can share that amongst each other. So, yeah, I don't believe in the phrase happy wife, happy life. Now, if you want to tweak it a little bit, it sounds a little bit better. But it ain't so selfish sounding. Happy spouse, happy house. You know?
I like that.
So we can tweak it a little bit, because now it's not a selfish thing. It ain't all about what I can do to please her, which is good. But it goes both ways. A marriage is two.
It is, and it's funny because I had this conversation with a friend of mine. Often we talk about how men need just as much in a relationship as we do. You know, we think we're the only ones who need that emotional support, and oh, I'm not being loved, oh, I'm not being touched. Men feel the same way. It's not. It's all storybook when they tell us. Oh, you get married, you just gonna have a whole lot of sex, or all men want is sex. That's not true. That's not true. Men want that same love and affection. They want to be told that they've done a great job. They're appreciated. They're loved. They want the same things we do, right?
We do want those things, but I'm gonna tell you what else we want that she didn't say, but I'm pretty sure she knows what's on her heart. Men want respect.
Absolutely.
We want respect, and it's just as important as love. We want respect. The average man is not going to be around an environment too long. I don't want to just pin it down to a marriage, but an environment too long and be disrespected all the time. That's why it's important how we talk to one another, especially if we say we love one another. It's very important how we talk to one another, and it's very important how we treat one another. Because we want to feel appreciated. Yeah, we want to be loved, but we also want to be respected at all times. I think in your home, man, this is how I feel. A home is like our sanctuary. It's like whatever's going on out there in that world, outside these walls, it can be all the war, all the chaos, all the hate in the world. But when I come home under my roof, with my wife, with my child, it needs to be peace up under here, up under this roof. It needs to be love in here. And every man needs to feel that. Every man deserves to feel that. And every woman too. And then if you got children under that roof, the children deserve that too. The children deserve their family to see their mom and dad, even if it's their stepdad, to have a peaceful, harmonious relationship in front of them. All the differences we have should happen behind our bedroom door, closed door, when the child go to sleep. The child should never see the parents arguing to the point to where it's causing anger and fear and hurt. We got to think about all of these things. Nobody wins when the family feuds. Nobody.
That's true. And I'm not saying for anybody to stay in a marriage where they're miserable, or they just know that it's not working. Hadn't been working from the beginning. I'm also not advocating for divorce either.
Right.
I had a friend years and years ago that was going through things with her husband. I mean, just over and over again. You name it, they was going through it. But every time this person would, decide they were going to go to church, just so happened the pastor was preaching on marriage, and they took that as, oh, I need to stay, I need to stay, I need to stay, I need to stay and work this out. That's something that you have to be in constant prayer with God about.
You also have to know, too, that God takes marriage very, very serious. You just can't stand up there and make all these vows and say for better, for worse, and then he's doing all of this work. Remember we talked about he's molding us into one flesh. He's doing all of this work, and you think he's doing that for nothing? Just because you are not happy this week, or you haven't been happy for 2 weeks? You tired of being cooped up with this person? You want to be single again, and you want to do whatever? You have to know what constitutes a divorce. What type of divorce that he will allow, or what reasons that can you get divorced? Because you just can't get divorced for anything. You can in this world. In this world, I don't want to see you no more, or I found somebody better. You can get divorced, you can get separated in this world. But when you stand and make them vows before God, you got to remember that he created marriage. He put you two together. So you just can't leave just like that. You're supposed to work this thing out, and you're supposed to trust him. Now, there are a couple reasons where you can get a divorce, and he would allow it. He would honor that. But there are so many things happening today where people are just trying on. You said something like, not too long ago. People trying on marriages like underwear.
Yeah, like underwear. And I want to go back to something that you just said. You said he put you two together. He might not have.
Right.
He might not have put you two together, but you stood in front of God, and you made those promises, so that's your fault. I know it sounds really, really mean the way I'm saying it, but that is your fault. You stood in front of God and made those promises and said those vows. So you can't just be like, oops, thought this was the one, but it's not, God. I'm going to try another one.
And this is something that not many people talk about. But I do want to say this. He take marriage so serious that if you just get divorced for any stupid reason, for any reason that he doesn't condone, that he didn't say, okay, I accept this reason. You just get divorced for any old reason, you risk not only your soul, not only you, but your spouse, your ex-spouse. You risk them and you committing adultery with whoever you're with in the future because that divorce wasn't honored by God. This is stuff that people don't talk about today, that you won't hear often. But if you really care about what God says and how he thinks, then study that for yourself. But we're supposed to trust him with all things. He do miraculous work if you just take the issue to him. Yeah. Whatever the issue is, he can change that person completely, a complete makeover from who that person was. Yeah. And I'm a witness. I'm a testimony, is what I'm saying. I'm not only somebody just here telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. I'm a testimony. Changed me, a complete makeover from who I was to who I am now.
Yeah. And I want to say, I want to say this, and I have another thing I want to say. If I had not had the patience to stick this marriage out in times that were for better and for worse, I wouldn't be able to witness this amazing man that God was creating. And I had no idea what he was doing. I had no idea. I just know I had to trust God because I had made those vows. And so if I just would have given up and said, you know what, forget it. And there was times when I felt like that. But you know what? God was working it out. And it's amazing. I wouldn't have even been able to see, his masterpiece in the end. And like we said earlier, we still get on each other's nerves. We still, like, oh, I'm going over here. I'm watching my own movie today by myself.
Yeah.
But that's just a part of life. And I also want to say, for those people that are in the first 1 to 7 years, you're still newlyweds. You're still growing. It's going to be things you're going to find out that you didn't know. It's okay. You're not going to know everything in a year. You're not going to know everything in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
It takes a while.
It takes a while before you get to the point where you can finish each other's sentences. It takes a while before you come out the bathroom and you got on the color red and he got on the color red too, and you didn't even know that person.
You hadn't talked about what you was gonna wear today.
Yeah, it takes a while before you say, what you want for dinner today, babe? And you both say tacos at the same time. It takes a while to get that. But believe me, God, when you get married, if it was ordained by God, you will become one flesh.
Yes.
And it is unexplainable. I can't even explain how, no, he really is me and I really am him. Like, it's amazing how I can feel his pain, how he can feel my pain. It's like a twin.
Yeah.
So, that's all I wanted to bring that to light, and if you're in a marriage and you're going through something right now and you've been married for a long, long time and it's just just not working out. Think really hard. Um, gotta love yourself. Gotta love yourself too.
You gotta love God,
Yep.
love yourself, stay in prayer, and you gotta stay listening. You gotta stay listening and watching. Because if you feel like God is not talking to you, maybe you're looking for a certain way, a certain words, a certain someone kind of way that you want God to talk to you. But God talks in various ways.
He does.
Various ways. He talks to His Word. He talks to His through His people, through the men and women, the brothers and sisters around you. Um, the devil talks too. The devil talks through people too. So you really got to be vigilant and spiritually sensitive. Pray to God that He make you so sensitive in the spirit that you're able to see and hear all that He's trying to tell you and show you. That should be one of your top prayers. If you're having some challenges in your marriage or just relationships in general, you want to be on the lookout for what God is saying and what He's doing.
Well, one of my prayers is I always say, God, show it to me where I know it couldn't have came from nobody else but you. Because He sees and knows everything. And that can mean like in a dream. It can mean somebody that you don't know walking up to you saying something. But just God, show me in a way that I know that it only came.
You riding and a billboard is saying exactly what you was thinking, or a question that you asked and you see it on the back of a truck or side of a semi-truck or a license plate. Like, God talks. But we got to be paying attention. We got to be listening. We need to be listening to wise counsel. Like, if you're thinking about going through a divorce, if you had challenges in your marriage, she said this a while back, surround yourself with people you can trust. And if you're going to make a decision as big as something like that, as tearing your family apart, you need to be around wise counsel. You need to be around people that can tell you the truth, people who can listen to both sides of the story and be unbiased, because nobody wins when the family feud. And I keep saying that because that's a Jay-Z song that I heard a couple of years ago, maybe. I think it's off the 444 album. And he said, nobody wins when the family feud. We fail because we didn't have the tools. A lot of people don't have the tools to get through the unforgiveness, the hatred, the depression, the trauma, whatever they're going through. They got them stuck in the point where they can't get past to heal a relationship, a friendship, or marriage, or whatever. But again, when you're fighting, you're supposed to fight for it, not against it. We wasn't taught that. Like Jay said, we didn't have them tools coming up. But God shows us.
Yeah.
God tells us.
Yeah. And you got to get healthy. You got to get healthy enough to know that if you are fighting and you're fighting by yourself, you got to step away, not divorce, but step away and get healing for yourself in order to figure out how to move along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got some healing. Because, first of all, we know hurt people, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when, you're going through stuff with your spouse, they hurting you because they've been hurt. Or you're hurting them because you've been hurt. And you got to step away and just get some healing.
Yeah.
Ask God, what is it that you need to... A lot of times we know. We don't really need to be like, oh, well, God, what is it? We're waiting on this miraculous answer, this thing to just come down like a cloud of smoke and say, it's this. We know the things that we've gone through that we haven't healed from. We were talking earlier this year, and I was telling my husband, like, I need healing from things from my childhood that I didn't even realize was still there. Those are things that we bring into our marriage sometimes, because we all like, well, my daddy did it to my mama. Oh, my mom said that to my daddy, so I thought that's how. Those are things that we bring into our marriages. Those are things that we communicate with our children. They make our, they, you know, we bring it to our children's lives and expect so much from them because we went through it.
Things we make gospel.
Yeah.
Things that we put over what God said about these things because we went through it, our experiences, or our parents told us, and we saw this. So we make this gospel, even after we come to knowledge to know that God don't approve this. But it's so embedded in our experiences and our thoughts because of trauma, we still act out in the same ways. But yeah, we got to talk about those things. We got to seek healing for those things. And we got to be honest. We got to be able to look in the mirror and say, man, I'm messed up in this area.
Yeah.
Or I need help in this area. You can't get it if you don't talk about it, if you don't voice it. And I want to say this too before we close this evening. Because a couple people that I've talked to over the last month that's having marriage issues, this one person told me in particular that they was going to see a counselor. And this counselor told them that some stuff that wasn't biblical, you know, like y'all barely know each other. Maybe y'all should just leave each other alone because y'all really don't know each other anyway. But they married. They've been married for a while. I'm talking about over a year. And when he told me that, he said that his wife kind of like, it seemed like she took that to heart. That was a seed planted and watered, and she's running with it. And I was like, but those are the things that happen when you seek counsel from a person who might not have the same spiritual foundation as you.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you're getting worldly counsel, but you are spiritual, you are a Christian, but you're getting worldly counsel, can steer you in the wrong direction. Because you're vulnerable. You're seeking answers.
And let's not forget.
And sometimes you can be seeking the answers that you want to hear and run with it.
Yeah.
Because we're human at the end of the day.
And let's not forget, Satan is slick. He don't have no new devices. Well, these is new devices to us because we're not. When you think of counseling, you don't think of somebody coming to you telling you the wrong thing. But it is the wrong thing if it's not biblical and they're telling you, you know, y'all ain't been on each other long. Just leave that alone. Go find somebody else. No, that is not biblical. That is Satan. So that is, you know, something we're not used to. But like you said, you got to make sure you're seeking biblical.
Wise counseling.
Yeah, wise counseling. You can't just go to anybody.
Yes.
Somebody told me that they were going to counseling for their child, and they was saying all kind of crazy stuff to them too. And they was like, "But wait a minute, like, I didn't give you permission to talk to my child about this. Why are you going there?"
Yeah.
And we got to be careful of the things. You know, I know these days everybody's talking about going to counseling, going to counseling, going to counseling. And like I said, I just had the conversation with him about me needing to talk to someone to get some things that I didn't realize was still in me from my childhood. But I would do serious research before I just went to anybody.
Yeah.
Or to somebody because they're like, oh, they good.
Yeah.
No, I ain't trying to come out more messed up or messed. Now I think I'm good, but I'm messed up with God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just be careful.
Yeah. We just wanted to talk a little bit this evening about family and marriage. And, hey, we want to see people healthy. We want to see people happy. But, again, we can't find happiness in each other. We got to find happiness with God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need to be happy and love yourself enough to know that you need to be, that you want to be in a healthy, peaceful, godly environment. Your home should be your sanctuary.
Yeah. So with that being said, stay tuned for our next episode. June is our anniversary month.
Yes.
This year we celebrate 19 years of marriage, but 30 years together, all together.
30 years.
we still, like we said, don't have it all together, but we are just excited, for the things that God has brought us through and those things that, to come. Just seeing us grow every day is amazing.
Yeah.
Me watching him till the land, as he likes to call it, when he's out there cutting the grass, it's like, man, God, you did all this for me, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but it's really, really amazing. His work, like I'm a fan of his work. So we are talking about taking Love Seed Dialogue on the road. So you might see us have like not a live show, but with some guests, like in a venue.
Yeah.
And like and comment in here. We may send you an invite if you have questions for us. We do some marriage counseling on the side.
Yeah.
So if you have questions for us,
put it in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
If we social media friends, inboxes.
Yeah. We are, I would like to say we're an open book. We don't mind sharing experiences that we've gone through. So yeah, we're here for you, and we hope you hear our hearts and our sincerity for marriage. That's one of my passions. It's been that way for since I've been married, and probably before, because great grandmother was married for over 50 years, and I come from a very strong background in that. It wasn't necessarily functional all the time, but that's marriage is my heart. Like I love to see things God's way. He created marriage, Adam,
a certain way.
Eve. Yeah,
a certain way, a certain order, and it needs to run a certain way in order for it to be successful. So that's one of my passions as well.
Yeah.
Manhood is another one of my passions. So we definitely want to see marriage and families in general flourish and thrive. So if you have a comment, question, you got a topic idea that you want us to suggest or see what we think about something, throw that at us as well.
Yeah.
But so we may do that in the future with our anniversary podcast. So be looking out for a couple new things, couple switch ups.
All right,
That's another episode of
Love Seek Dialogue.
I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.